ruk con jen ya nyang kle gol malare ka wai da mayan di tarane mayom ka bul julga panya jare wayong ruk con jen ya nyang kle gol malare ka wai da mayan di tarane mayom ka bul julga panya jare wayong ruk con jen ya nyang kle gol malare ka wai da mayan di tarane
Malaga war yan war dia la daga northeast dong ma malaga chang der yan war daga Australia gonna win mon da dian they learn it at large walla walla ben kon right ko quiz science can technology chimo yanga jo em program em la de no de ko we dien kon nei de te ga no to dan chian dan kon nei de pel bo mi chi history nyo na no mo ani jo bo to kon ga god kon ti chu wo je me ko ro ling lin ni ko ro nen kon ga ling ken ga bo jede gwa wo be kon ku ten ro nen de kon ka we dan doran bet dor by kula kanin ke wala na right ko quiz science can technology ko ni ki anen tam en win mo na me ci kon do jog long kon wori mi wi rol wori tele kubre ni tele wuci ja te kayom bi ga North America de ngai no ci wo ka ci an kon ne tam ko kon lo kwedi ne di chara tele mi long kane ka kon wori kon do jog long kane di char ka Africa ka ci o lan ko kon ka pel ci o lan ko kon ka bun ci o lan ko kon ka goy ci maro ci kon to lan lat lo kon o bi kon we dan kamrar we gwa te ti diare de mu ci kon de kamrar bi kon long no ba ko ter ba constitution of South Sudan gan ngune bi kon long ne de kon ko ri Ethiopia te ya ter nore muter kon ni ro ne de kon ki kon we dan ter angula lu ga nore ka juba ka ji ku juba ki ka bargazel liu ka ko ter ke ni we ni South Sudan anguchi kan gang no we de ne ro na do ci kon bile dier ko tugun ba yat pin ibna right ko tugun met ko ro na ma bna ko tugun hore tele jore dong bi la compute ke ye ko te yen dorun kalling ya robo ne de la ri ci no ro de lingo ko ma ta kon ge program me ko mo lat kon yen kon ti to ken ba ki to ko no ko ro kon hore Kemen ya lara wala but right ko science can technology science lo nungu lui ja loy ko tung nuera en ried de chala science ko tung lung lo de ngai ngwan mi cha rol gwa ke ngai ngwan ko dub dia ani o cha ngai ni je la o ngai ngwan ni ke technology ajen en dio ke riuna ko ngai ngwan ni o de ran chian de ala ke de ka kendin gorke kar ka kon ba ke ngeje de ci mo ngai yene dame everyone ne ideal ko win mo na me ci do na ram char jok ci asian ni ci ke ngade robots ja ga jang ni ka Mars China go robot to the space station ko moon European Union tinte jagrar bo ka satellite ni ja de la ni America ma ke Russia kete mi ci am ling alo te wit mi char mi ci no malat en kan yana ling hangu kon do jog no long ne mi gwi ka science and technology ne di char ye Africa yi do jog long ko kan political we can yalla ka gwa mi we ka Japan long ti dialo angana bi jek tin ka Japan bi jek ne di chola Japanese tuk duel ke ko dorian ling karo ku kan gwi no bi Japan bo woni amdi akon chan ling kon ga Japanese mi we ka China bi jek ne no mo bo tini Chinese te 90% ke han mi we ka Thailand bi jek ne Thai tin yang kwai chola Thailand chi mo de kon wo ro nuori ko ne dial go ka ro bi ka ro wo re rol ko rol tel mi la rana lung le rol bi rol ka ne di ko ne di cher ka dup ti cher ka ji ne di go ro bi ka ji tiam ne di go ro bi ga ken won ya ko jan taran no mo ko yo mi we ka ro ling lin Europe and dan wajin toran dan ci Canada ka how many tuk duel te Swedes ka to dien te Poland ka we dien Poles ya jen mo ko ne jolo Poland ke go yene jen Ukraine yene de alare e ci we ro de ma dak pin de ma dag ka 21st century come on Ukraine mo ro de dago ni ka dio ka tami ci Crimea berar ka de mi chala Luhansk kene Donetsk mo ci ka berar ka tam ne di char ye Africa ni Rohl karo ku wi di ro ken lut waja South Sudan 64 different ethnic groups we Rohl madi mi kena mo ngude malwang reide kori gwande dial kori nakagad kun chana mo ke education ko yoba chika rongo ba group ke ba kamni al ko ba ne dial kamni the one ethnic group you kanu be benyen dial benyen wi dial you might kamita ram go wede kuna kula take trade chia de chop en wi mon chia je chop le ke janan kuna go ron wala janan ku right na jode te kon demandan ni nen paltam and demandan me agor ke engineer me let along Australia je chop ka high level along and ka jan ka community bo lede a vice president of the Nuer community in Queensland, Australia. So in Queensland, but Lloyd don't have the long go you got done but right can Nuer wale. Take a Bachelor of Engineering Aerospace Avionics. Take a Bachelor of Engineering electrical engineering. Take a Master's of Engineering in Space Systems. One in he's a fixed-wing pilot aircraft and helicopters. Co-work experience to lead a company in engineering, signal automation, aircraft avionics, and electrical design and electronics war, currently working for the Australian Defence Forces. Ba you tell you about look at Nuer, can to dialato avionics, can electrical systems, can a signal automation. But men go robi anga January na ma gadun ria menjel ga ye ria menjel ga jabo ka weja be ni ko ro Nuer ka che linglini dial nyalen ko be chop ko position mo ke yi ni dial nyalen ko be chop ko position mo ajen bi agor o gad mi chene me ka bo ma dire che je balane ne de kon ka kam te de ni area nyale kam nang ne gad kun ka space chwa jalare no mache de to ka mache laden gadan che lare e chen de lunga na ramil lare o che dor belung lare ni to gram mache tel me belung ka lare je ramil lare o ba lung ram mo lad ni to be lung ka lare jen bo so jen no tame right ke demandan inen wal golong the law medida ke bindu ko show wala so they wrote a lot of med you were let go Australia but how long Burundi you go Australia ga
mà lại lính á
linga
cái này đó thấy cái line đó chọn chỗ đó cái chỗ nữa đó chọn ngang nền luôn nó là nền nó bơ mà cái này chụp này so anh nhận chỗ nữa đó war chọn là phật thang ta dorme chọn ba dorme chọn là bên thiếu qua đáp cái tin dorme chọn là lэр but war medan ya gian dorme chọn là jagai ben lэр dan chụp phi sin là young man and then care lo jo but ngô đó han dol jagai dol khoi. So that's me in terms of the Nuer, Nuer where I came from, because you know, and one thing in the Australia, Dormichala Brisbane, and Jaguay and Barai about this topic and Wale. And Tala don't tell you, but no, quite a lot chang 1 hour, chala capture and banner Barai. And so about me, and you know, Shangada Latina, Shang, Ramay Pizza, and I knew. Yeah, corner a jalap, you know. So that's why then cha go we na kon go look about look and go robin agor then me cha ben dul gor cha ben Kenya cha we Uganda well then cha we Kenya then cha ben one man and so I shan ma ya je cha ben Australia but then cha ba gor ya dul gor one man then me cha wa cha ko pm one kawai ni open go gor titi ne magoro bika gor chiga de longa gor ko yara me charra mo ku zo kawani che jo mathematics che malal ka to kawani ana to der ya gor ga ya dan chi ne lel ka high school ma no cha ka kam nga bo work then chawa university ba when I queer but university la quite back up your result tira they push back less engineering mai chai je do be design ka design ga ma ba itu and so they didn't have an issue there mano mai cha go ro bala aerospace engineer kind of electrical engineer ko design way done ba supported way done ta ante je che ta ma go a time go kono banaran chum ka we need to change something. So that's why I became engineer and then my job which but okay bila engineer lang one no do be a design ka way in an go ru be o usage in because tayar mata the you ne about lel ne da kongoro jin be ja ko you become an operator. So and then you're applying they show you learn in those days go dorm ku design you have to be the user for you to know go yeah and so I became a designer and in terms of aircraft in terms of UAV and unmanned vehicles and all those things then my job go order ba ma military because at the time le ga civilian la pen ga so machine able military ne cha la no ga or those type of things became lat and so that's why I shawari kawaini then chine ko lat ke up to now but ni chang la ngai ro do an ganura one day gore me men gore go nuri they should be needing be benefit and benefit e jaga kawaini men to me engine benefit bita short term see benefit bita long term and ngai ko animally Chinese sometimes like jakana ku we need to talk about technology about all and bidor bi ngi bi nekun bi ko balongi so that's why so and in that la no it's about me being able to take a question and valorizing valen
my right go along mo jilaro no ki Chinese la kan ne ki ne je ko wi de ko ba technology la kwal here ne la ro quality technology ko go de chiri me jiram ku je te technology bo ko go je bentino ko min la de dan ke Chinese take a wit mu ko technology la kultin ko no rita ma tele kon waja ande ya lare kon South Sudanese but mo na ko to wit mi chaji cheng la ran wit ko wit mi jojo tele me ba luang reide no mo me be long so de lani jita lord ko jiram kel Canadian gorke ko tangwan la na guji ne me chaji bilung la nen ke ne riam yalle ke ti dialo ya chago to wan yal pa yugo no ai Canadian ti ji na lenya long ko mo joji ndame joji no che kan na lenya won kwa lo gono ba wuya pin ko me ji ji bi ke na ku ngi ba ku tet kan dialo to be benefit in long term ku ben ko kon tame she were unmanned vehicles can a UAV so ko we do what is the ngukwa benefit ngu je keran ka aviation technology kan udan wori je jek chan kelo ka aeronautics can aviation technology
that's a good question ko me cha actually UAB or entire mono ke weapon mono ke anything majal ma tele ramageria and so la we open but then ke we the loss we have bela yo already and sera ma biliu kel ga and kon yana ngai onuri la wa ko ko na ne kor me ngai la with of no point and ka chen kor no la use tactic to kongor man me bi jo shi bi so no so point bi wo so ne so ne kon ka jinu nye na ko one on one la ne ni ya me physically but technology machine invited and be using ma bi ne ko bi kana katini nyuro na duelu na kursu kadu so sometimes kon wari chana sapa long chata nante kon kele jabe la beke war go ba kon ma mani na osil kon technology magwa ma be ko monitor on board am on to le jabe ma bi bere dan ma bi kon na ke wadar but for the kon ke UAV ni ma chana ka ko chana e moy security on board dan ma den ka ne na ngot ke na ben ke den ka attack ngot ka kon attack kan so those type of technology and bana dan prepare ka chana bi nyen ke nyen dan back in the day ma la nyen go no ni kon la one out of no panken ko ka wai me we nyen shi la liu ne jen la liu no kwak and bombe yor ka be open go ma dong so on ken gwa to ko na te bana go yo bana dan captain because and run the TB ben no benign in the air, she now been on foot, benign. What we madong binawa attacked by no so that is what it mean. Tayar matel ramageri it's unmanned control like a computer do. So that type of thing can congo banagange the nori ka bana wedan ganga ka one day because jang de kwal ko kon ke jabani de kwal ko kon den ga nen ngot ke ga chop ko kon. So those type of technology go kon ka long ra ching dan ke chiu tele ke kon an jen way tele mal ma jana te mal kon no de den ga no den te so
Here go along ko ne kon nori chi ne chui ka lia da mar ne kon lu ka wan dial pe ka guard kien ga okien property and life bo here me take nori tam ko go la nothing ka East Africa even so chapti chira to me de ga real ka ga nori to save life da me go along what kind of infrastructure they could yet think which me the activities to support here UAB ni can unman what kind of infrastructure gorkan a carbon with gorka what kind of education ni tin they ladlet they which go they could support can kwak ti
put Chabi right along because but high level because maybe it may interfere with the job that I do.
Yes, okay. Don't say anything that would interfere.
It would be a high level, but Magoro do broad ganka technology man no Mago make sure network on and but take a ground support, ground support more it's mix up of computers or being on be control, but take a video evidence and did a queer monitor and a guama what's in. Mera would be take a satellite access and imaginary beginning through a satellite so that be control and then we could communicate through satellite using that UAV. So technology may and no go on and we should get access to there's a lot of available resources that we could use to do those type of technology. And they don't want to correct again or go on be a satellite access dun. We want to do this for a civilian purpose. So go on be on support in a way that gang corner and chikon when so that technology is required. The support system is very important so that we can still track it and we make sure that it does the purpose or you know what I mean?
Yes.
You actually aim for the target. You make sure that you're 100% sure in your target and then be a
so precision.
Yes, precision is important. Kind of go to support system or be decision, but you could know how to make a decision. So when they understand go conke, but she they conang a long time. It's matter of asking people around and and then we will be very easily they con contract they con sign and they con then they con or then ran gang then a con then a gang then a con parga now ban then a gang then can I worry ala kier my yadi because don't then alone and jay one a year young hong now so but that's not our aim go con bandan gang so and then the main thing and support system and support infrastructure.
Okay. Dama Australia. Any Australian government who billions of dollars who can invest aeronautics, aeronautics for defense, but civilian aeronautics. And who billions of dollars in investing. What do get resources at the island of Coronori? How long? Go the investment me be part get technology how long do you think it would require to get that investment? Get resources to Coronori. I know you're not an economist, but I take an idea of how much money, how much funding la working at it industry it.
I have a question magana now because industry metat in kawai lad we yen engineer si job du chi people ko to yo. That's confirm no.
Yeah.
Arun me chi we I'm going out ka ngu ye yo tele yo ba ga nyo kam ji bro nyo bet. Ano. Kawai yo kwen ka gwa inshallah technology. Na chabi kula to yo dandi but kwen ka re mo na yo to go no technology mo na better research about thing for the future. I know. Yo the alko ka invest in. For us as a Nuer, she gonna be start from the scratch. Kawai can start from the scratch for a new idea. And Nuer, we're just taking something that's already there. That's how we're starting it. And then later on, we're gonna decide on and then they're gonna improve it and then we can research. Okay? That's the only way we may need to do something from scratch if we need to do a research. But to technology take content thing already, you know, because ngani la resource la painan because ngai no in recheng take ngani take yo ka take mineral to kana detect. People are willing, you know, the conlo in terms of support ka kuyoni ko ngai ka no gwa ante considering kon. You know, everyone is willing to invest in that side of sector. So yo de nang here yo don't want along yo to thought ko she con letter research what con na ngani ka karame she develop already. What on and you guys are using this, how much will it cost us? That's a question that we need to ask them. And then from there, becon nekon train and mena but ba support because dormi yiko kashi long support then there's no point. So we prepare our people and about longer support because neko koki and la waneka no bad or baba support and then it will cost us more money. You know? So in terms of getting a new technology, maybe collaboration still you don't want a banana con ko the Nuer population milalingi country mrianga number nas. You know, now one can quick utilize me and that country is very, very, very rich, especially in Nigeria. Nigeria population Medika Africa. You know, Nigeria is in terms of technology. It's because there's a lot of people that can do different things. You know. So Nuer, I think we're big enough to do something that will benefit our generation to come. Even if we may not physically do it well the first time, but our generation, God can we've been they'll have something that will start, you know, from somewhere, you know. So in terms of finance, it will not cost us a lot because we're not doing a developmental thing. We're just getting something from a different country.
Yeah. Much a lot of real Mungwalong. Come on, ten 80 like a lot. A theram be no go but let Elganori, especially technology. Come on, buy a lot in time. Jerry McGuire Charmo, go Ginny, we done take Quacting one. Canadian, they are willing or they can let Kelkacon. So why do you do? Why Mulatana da Guji? It's a Ramabi no go but let Canori, advanced countries. Kagwidu Mulatana the Cherno, Kajiram let Aeronautics and space, very high level Australian government, first world country. Kangaji and the high level people that would be willing to work with Native January. So just your personal opinion, what do you think is lacking?
Well, a thing like that, I think they may not lack a business opportunity or learn about business because business is all about marketing yourself. Okay, because if you're not there, make sure a market until IOUs exist. Okay, so Nuer people, if they don't market themselves, they do exist and they do need help. And so it comes to the finance. The issue. So I don't want to work with you because of X and X. It's as long as Tika resources, people are willing to invest because they want a return from you. They want something that's going to be a payback. You know. So if people are still in in what way? Because it's too high level stuff. You know. We have to support the evidence. You know, why are people not willing to work with us as a country? When we declare then that's friend. That's a new friend. That's your friend. That's my friend. My friend are happy to work with me. You know, I'm happy to take them to Sudan tomorrow. You know, that way they can start working. Another person will do the same. So I don't see why people say they're not going to be willing to work with us. That's fault. I think that's a fault.
Yeah. So shiri mo ladio. No me go over the market. Ka business go win more le ram ke interest. So me
Yeah.
won wari lari tam bne chon karo. Ka minerals can in the island today and moon me. It only belongs to us. So Ramagor minerals, then we are open for business. Shiri mo jan ladi.
Yep. That's what it is.
Yeah. Oh, very good. I think mention like kukui technology. Well, okay, infrastructure. Kabinda aran way done. Kaji namin lerka technology. Kamithi kaji tamenin angu de la letko de guard kungi ke science and technology. Allow science and technology education. Obegar nueruku chupka gwatan tithan so that they can do research. What would our recommendation do for children in elementary, high school, and many college? What level of mathematics? What kind of science? If me kuya design and neuroscience and technology like STEM education. What things do you think are important? Tell me you take experience science and technology.
All right. Yeah, that's a good question. It depends on what a country wants to achieve, because we should have a plan for, as in Nuer people, what do we want to achieve in the next 4 years? What do we want to achieve in the next 10 years? The earlier we start, the better. Sometimes there's a different education. There's the people that go through science way. There's the people that go through STEMs, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. There's the people that want to go politics. There's the people that want to go through other health sectors. It's important that we train our people to what we want as an outcome. Because you can't send children to school because you don't know what you want to get out of that Dulgora. It's good you have an idea what you want that child to do. All right. For us as a Nuer, and we have to start as early as possible from primary school and engage technology. Then technology, it doesn't mean that they need to learn this, but we need to engage them so that they have the concept and they have the idea that technology, how did people make it? How did people come up with this type of idea? So if we make that our school very engageable for our children, and then the technology will not be harder for us to pass it to our children. Because look at India. How much will it cost you to get a technology teacher from India? How much will it cost you to get a mathematics teacher from India, from China? This is very, very cost effective, and we can utilize this type of people if we set up ourselves in terms of normally kawaila secondary school that may a secondary school may learn then benanka workplace workplace, like that's a work-based experience, So and then mata garmagoro by developmental care research by then below university, and then after university below work placement. We need to make sure that our God can engage in a way that this educational system is reformed, because education system in Antica South Sudan now share education, Imagine last year, Nuer children may take or Shakapeno by example, just because they were Nuer people. Shakapeno, they have to do examination because they were in the IO control area. Yeah, that was very disturbing. And it's a time for us to make sure that we reform this educational system, that Nuer people, they have to come up with an education where we want our children to grow and succeed in life,
Yes.
That is mentally destructive, Get high school go take location, These are the type of thing we need to have a conversation about as a Nuer people, So in terms of we need to engage our children very early as possible, but we need to show them the practical, because Milalka high school, Milalka education, Africa now, it doesn't work. You have to do a practical sense Sometimes you can go to university and finish, have a degree, but you need to be able to do the practical. You need to be able that you can work.
So, practical application lo nungu ka to dan ka nyog bo. Tama ka Africa chi la chicken practical a so ngu kwa failure ka African education tama ku technology. Alo la nyot na bog ni tel mi kwa apply ki
Pele with Africa is this education is like marmari. Okay, jin bi toy bi marmari bi kalar bi we chal yi doctor yol chal nganen. Ran la we remember ka exam you will pass. Kakawa is different. You can do that component part of it, but you will have to prove it that you can do it. You have to prove that you can build or you can design something that is acceptable to a standard level, you know? And then later on, you can, over time, you can do that experience to go and improve your learning, because what you learn in the class is just 25%. What you learn at university is just 25%. You know, it does not even get used sometimes, you know. What is at workplace is very important. And this is what we are lacking, because someone is going to finish university and they will never get a job. And this is what the education system is after failing us. You know, if that was a practical, you do the theoretical part of it, and the next one you do is practical. At least that will help us. This is a thing that we need to implement as the Nuer people. We don't want our kiddo balela marmarikan. That doesn't work. The educational system does not work at all. And so as a Nuer people, we need to be aware of what our children want and what is not going to work for them. You know. So practical is very important, and practical application of whatever you have learned. That's the difference between you know how to clean a house than you cleaning the house. So that's the basic terminology that I can put it in. You know.
So tell me, God, me go back in the robotics. Very me quit lano de the small robots. Nika primary. Nika grade 2, grade 3, or so forth. That I begin the can you imagine what a robot load maybe jal karad me tat get it.
Yeah, that is what it really mean for us to actually implement, because sometimes you can say 1 + 1. I can tell you is 2. And what does that mean? You know, it means something when you say 1 person + 1 person is 2 people. Okay, and then you now put it into computer, because tomorrow, and then that turn into a calculator. Okay, and then our children now can know that it's reality. You know, they can't just say 1. You know, so those type of teaching is important that Obanagad can engage, and it's not very hard, very easily. About $500 a month will bring us 5 teachers from Kenya, Uganda, and they can teach our children in the village. And then in the afternoon, they can go look up to the account, and tomorrow they come back. They'll be very educated, you know.
So, me gonna come out of Rohl Naath. I tell me a lot of number. Teachers from Kenya, Kia Garden, were it to Lunga and Medeiran, we get $500 a month, $500 a month. And you can long time ago, worry. Can go on Kumandani yet, but would you just quick along? Could they got get technology?
Yeah, they very small money, because that person is a $500. That's going to teach 250 people, students. So in 4 years, you're going to have a lot of experience coming out of that class. You know, so I think that's the type of thing that we need to invest, because we are investing for the future of the Nuer people. You know, because it's not good. Personally, I do not wish to work under the government of Kir Mayadit in my life. Because it's not a government, it's something that is ruled by criminals. Those people deserve to be in jail. You know, because that's not how you run a country. So the only way to come is to come as a new nation with a common culture and common goal, that we need to be someone later on, because for many years we have been suffering. My grandmother used to tell me about Riek Machar. My mom is still telling me about Riek Machar. Everyone is telling me about those people, but what have we learned as a Nuer people? Because we are working for other people, we never work for us. You know.
So, a genuine time about Pelano ba Benalet Queen and the Kong. You learn a Queen or in time.
Yep. If Riek Machar was working for the Nuer people, we would have been better off. For now, we should never have any issue. And then Magur kon Naira Kokian, and then we can go and help them like a humanitarian help, but we need to help ourselves first.
Yeah. Micha implement and more and no maladi. I know the garden get technology, you primary. I mean mathematics can get in the Allen Gurka. Michi you could 25 years. Well, I talk on and Wally. Well, I come out of Ronath get 2022. Get 25 years. Guam their content to me, I got on get technology. God, they are more get free education can a global laddie where we are science, get technology, engineering, and mathematics. Queen, I've got 25 years. They can God on. We are Miran Chuk Guadla. Kill Rohl Nuer, a Guami de Chupin, Miguia.
I think 25 years is very far. Let's cut it down to 10 years.
10 years.
What could happen? A primary school would take you 4 to finish, and another 4 for high schools, maybe another 2 for technical college or break to university. You know, that's a child that's going to be born today will have an opportunity to help the Nuer people.
Yeah.
So what I see is that if we have 10-year plan, that we want those children. This is what Kauai has. Kauai has a 10-year plan. All right.
10-year plan.
They say this is the technology that we have today. They predict that what technology are we going to have in the next 10 years. What do we have to achieve that technology? This is the same thing that we need to apply to our people and our educational system. We said today we have these children take a high school. In the next 4 years, they're going to be at the university. What do we expect them to do? You know, and this is where we invest our money in. And so if we don't do that, and then we are in a big problem because we're not preparing our children for the greater Nuer population. Okay, because the way I look at it is very simple logic. It's not very hard. Anyone can do it. Anyone can do it in the Nuer land to say that we need to educate our children. We need to get a very, very good, bright engineers, you know. Let's say we can identify these kids that have talent because education is talent, you know.
Yeah.
We can identify all these kids and make sure that they do what they wanted to do in future. But because being in Nuer land, if you ask a child what do you want to be, what are they going to tell you? They were not going to tell you anything because they're not aware about this technology. You know? So we need
kind of like book weekend go.
Yes, so we need to take it to them so that we explain it, and then someone can say, all right, I want to be that, you know.
Yeah. So here a lot of identification of talent. So we a lot of God in tell along come science, engineering, mathematics. They could identify. We do. They contact a dual gore me Milonia can guard at all. For instance, you ran me ran ku talk at a grade school. Georgia low take aptitude me very high along mathematics. Allow tubercle level go there genius. We do. Should we fund special colleges? For instance, the US one of MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. The same thing we do Germany, many Australia.
Yep, in Australia they do have it.
So they're going to meet it.
So as soon as we identify that we got it on a talent, what we need to do next is to make sure we create that opportunity for them to either be educated within our Nuer land or we take them to a far location. You know, the problem with that is those other world, they have a different policy. When someone is very educated, they don't let them come back to their country. So we've got to be careful.
Yeah.
That's a citizenship that they give you on day one that you arrive if you have a talent.
Oh, you know, me a gentleman child brain drain here,
it's something else. Kauai call it is another name. So we've got to be careful about that because when they see that talent, especially in IT technology or in aviation technology or in aeronautical technology, they don't let you go. And then all your research and all that, they take it as a simple, but they will steal it. They will give you a grade, but they will steal those type of information. So let's not lose those information. I think we can do it in-house in our country.
In-house, okay.
And then you know, that idea of it doesn't work. We need to bring the knowledge inside the country. You know, because We don't know, that person may have changed and they were not willing to go back to the new land. Let's keep our knowledge within our country, but let's bring those who can teach them. A person who can teach 200 people, let's bring that person in.
Yeah.
You know.
Na mi jen ka ro de jaga pele ki science and technology work US US ki Australia ki China bo that we don't know, but pek the win mi jaga la ora me gan wor ne me pele we can you copy kaga good do tell me what would we have to do ko bina ku te Ronald, would we have to would mi chari alaka alo te ga ti dial in jagran ka Australia, the coffee shop, nothing, the running water, all the amenities of modern life. Me yat ka pin ko Nuer. Ka gwe do there back ko be god Nuer de lare bo ko wujida.
No, there will be no reason for him to go
No
away.
reason.
There will be no reason. Like I said before, if it's education, we can bring it to them. You know, because people like you and me, we're more than happy to go and teach for free.
Yeah.
Because we want more of us. I want more of me. I don't want just me. I want more of me, because tomorrow if I die, at least I left knowledge. You know, because that's why when I came to Australia, I was very greedy in terms of education. It's not because I will be employed, but it's because one day when I go home, I can teach people. You know, I can teach people how to fly an aircraft, because I know what wire is going to be wrong and what is going to go wrong with it. You know,
Yes.
I didn't do it because I'll be employed. I do it because I'll go and help my people, because you can't be engineer at the same time and go flying internationally at the same time.
Yeah.
But you do it because you want to teach your people.
Okay.
You know, so it's important we bring the teachers inside our new land. And
tell me ka benda rara ro Nuer. Ka gwe and I want to see go roban en ma char ga kwida na me. Me go you we to come teach Rodi and develop. La take la can Rodi and the the turbil me very cheap. Me the average person the kok ngal ko go kul jare which be economy could stimulate. Ko bina jalbo ki mita ka nyimar me gole ka bintiu ka ran Nasser or something. Ki ran my wood. Ki tare log. Is it possible or they an airplane me quite cheap but dependable safe namo immediate Nuer, so that people plane tickets can quite cheap minarodian kujal the economy could stipulate so majalat ko kui for bieli tangwin de yana lat ko kui rianyale.
it's a good question. It's a good question. Nueri gorgano bakalatka riameli. But as from where I speak, I must tell my people to use cars or walk. It's safer to use car or walk at this moment as we speak. I would not recommend them to get an aircraft or anything like that, because the Sudan aviation now is a disaster. I can call it a disaster, and it's unacceptable. Okay, having the issues that has been happening long time ago, since 1988 or whatever, that's been a lot of people dying due to the accident, you know, and these are avoidable accidents. And if you see this continue every now and then, that's a one aircraft that I've been watching for many years. That aircraft type is called Antonov.
Okay.
It's called Antonov. It's called Antonov. That aircraft type was done by Soviet Union, long time ago. That was in 1969. You know, it's a very old technology, and until today, it's being used in our land, in Nuer land, in Juba, all over the places. You know, this aircraft should not be used. Okay, for the safety of Nuer people, because I love them so much, I would recommend it's better to walk or to use Renault than actually taking an aircraft at this moment, because South Sudan is a disaster.
Yeah.
That's what I can tell you from an aviation perspective.
Okay.
I will not take a flight to Juba or any in South Sudan. I will not take a flight to go to Recheng.
Yes.
I would find an alternate, because I know the condition of aircraft. I know how they should be looked after. You know, imagine. Let's speak about the failure of South Sudan. Before we even go to Nuer, so that it does not repeat itself in the near future. Big car with the big horn, nangayeka tayar. Tell me, my friend.
Yeah.
You know. In Sudan, they take cow on the airplane, on a cargo airplane, cows with a big own, and they get pointer, they do it with a carbon paper. It's very light.
Yeah.
So in tung tayar me, and tung arbika me, and tung yang me tayar me, yes, that's a disaster. People would die. You know, people on the ground will die. That's a big failure. If you go to Juba Airport now, the first thing that welcomes you is a dog on the runway. Dog.
Yeah.
The geo on the runway. This is the implication of safety. Okay. These are a failure that we need to identify as a new nation before we even think of taking anything there. Okay. But if you're talking about a reliable aircraft, that's a different size of aircraft that you can get. You can get an international standard that take a long range, because the aircraft is when you take off aircraft, that's a minimum weight that it has to call a takeoff weight. It has to be a little bit heavier. Then later on when it's landing, it has to be a little bit lighter too. So you think that there will be a fuel that need to burn in the process. Okay. So knowing that the new land is very, very close, that will not happen. So if you're flying from Jikeng to Bentiu, there's no much fuel that's going to get burned in that type, So you will have to dump a bit of fuel to make sure that you are okay to land because it's not heavy. When you're very heavy, then you will land like that, and then that's a crash, Those type of thing will happen. So the Nuer people, for them to have a reliable transport, we could get a very tiny one, that's 25 seats, 60, 400 to 200 seats. We can get those type of aircraft for them. But it's a matter of looking, it's a matter of defining what you need. You will get that specification. Very reliable, is not very cheap. You can even start by leasing. You lease an aircraft for use. The person who leases is responsible for all the safety, but you're just paying for the seats. So I think at this moment, until the new nation decided that aviation and we can regulate really good, so that it's safe. It's so sad for our people to die. Especially what happened in 2nd of March 2021. In Piri, an aircraft crashed just after takeoff. There were people on the ground. It was sad. So we need to be able to set this type of infrastructure up properly so that we don't have a failure. We can identify all the failure and concentration. Poison. It's better for them. They live like that. So I think in the Nuer, we need to do a setup. Okay. And there's a lot of airlines, successful airline, Ethiopian airline, that's a Kenyan airline, and those type of things. We could learn from them what they did good and what they didn't do good. I would recommend at this moment, Raishianan is not set up for that type of transport.
Exactly.
From the airport infrastructure, it's not set up at all.
But Kabinda are on worry. So suppose we take out Nuer land next year, which are quite independent. Begin quite director. What do we need? Ko and Dismal State and Chiang Jagame, Karianela in the entire Sudan region, that we would be different. What infrastructure would put in place? What recommendation would you make? What do you think? Like for the size of Rohl, how many international airports would we need? What kind of infrastructure? Just in a general high levels view, what would you think? Would they recommend Gunwari?
All right. Well, if you need transport systems, okay, you need to make money in aviation, and you need to transport people around. The first thing you need is an airport. Okay, so that airport, this is where a port where you can land an aircraft. Okay, because airport is important infrastructure. If a war is going to happen, that's what the people will look at. An airport to go and land there so that they can go and attack that country. So it's good for us that we should have an infrastructure in terms of airport. We also have a workforce. We need people to work and know what they're doing. The other thing is security. And the very important thing is education. We educate people that this is how these things is working and this is how it gets run, And the main thing is the safety. We make sure that everything that we take into our land is very safe. So in terms of how many airports we should have, we will connect Newland in terms of Jikany, in terms of Bentiu, in terms of Low, in terms of Pangak. And then later on in between, if we develop, then there's a road, then there's no need of many of those airports, Now we can even do regional transport where we transport people from county to county within Jikany, within Bentiu, within Low, and within Pangak, So that's type of services that we need to be set up for the air services that we need to provide connect on. So what Chanaka set up in Toyota, if I was a director, because aviation here, boom, aviation is a rule back a set up what they're trying to do. Take a rule that's applicable to the aviation, mean labdo civilian, take a rule mean Lutheran or aviation beta defense, People need to come up with rule, and that rule, and this is what you need to operate, And those procedures and standard, because people were doing wrong thing. In South Sudan, no one tells them that aircraft you should take it to service when. They do what they want because there's no rule. So in Newland, I think if we were to have an airport, we'll probably have 4 to control all the Nuer area and to connect all of the Nuer regions, We should be having 4 regional domestic airport. And if we're going to have like an international is a big hassle, We don't want to have a lot of them. We can have 1, and then we can have a regional domestic airport that distribute into the counties, because it will cost a lot of money for us to meet the standard designs and all safety, So Nuer people should have maybe international is a bit pressure from the Federal Aviation Authority, so you will need to meet a lot of regulations if you want to transport the international visitors, because that's a big scale aviation resourcing, I think 4 could do the Nuer area, 4 domestics. And then as soon as the demand, the people like driving or the people like flying, and then we can increase, this type of services, because at the end of the day, it's meeting the customer expectation. Our people live comfortably, because Nuer people one day, they'll be rich people, they will be very happy people. And so I think about 4 domestic. And then maybe interconnection within the counties, because it's all about the quality of service, it's all about the safety, and meet the safety, and then we're okay. Then if we have enough people that are trained to operate those things, and then it's very simple, so that we don't have this disaster what South Sudan is going through now, because they don't have a regulation. It's the failure of the government that doesn't set up a regulation that if you want to operate an airline in South Sudan, this is what you need to meet. That's none of that one. It's not there. It's a 0. Okay.
We will put down be operate because you go.
Yes, it's a tick. 111. You tick, and then big on my license. Imagine take an airline suspended in South Sudan in 2015. So I would just get another name. What type of behavior is this? And then that aircraft airline is called South Sudan Supreme Airline. It's the one that crashed. South Sudan Supreme Airline. That was the name that they came up with. And now, I think this year or last year, the president suspended the operation of that type of airline in South Sudan. This type of thing that are the one we need to, as a Nuer, we stop. We need to stop them, because these are rubbish. They are rubbish. We can't be killing people like that. People's life is very important. Imagine that airport in Chalatka now, the failure. That airport was used for military purpose. It was not done for a civilian use. That international airport in Juba, because you cannot put an international airport in residential area. Okay, aircraft they safe, but things happen. The pilot could make an error and they could do an emergency landing. Imagine if they land on those apartments, how many people would die apart from those on board, It's very scary, and it's very, very shaming that the South Sudan government does not let those who know what they're doing to work for them. It's very shame.
So what you're saying is that backup weekend failures because South Sudan government, and then
100%. We should never repeat them. because it's better to walk than having a failure in the air. Because when if the aircraft fail in the air, you only have few options. It's either to crash or try your best to bring it down safely. And those type of things, if you can control them on the ground, then you don't have to have that issue in the air.
Yes.
You know. So we could train our operator, our pilots, and everything. We should be a good nation that speak one words and one language. You know.
Yeah. Okay, very good. So, yeah. Ngay jo ti tenijin ka ta kel che jan ka 1 hour and then below we go.
Yep.
Okay. So, but you could come last word. Te mi de la no re ka kui aviation ki generally science and technology importance. Ki mi de la chom no re ko de ka te waidian. Can a benefit we can become gonna out and waidian. So I'll give you the last Lloyd lot.
Yeah, I'll say like it's very shaming that I'm seeing my people suffering. You know, me, I'm from Bentiu. And if those who are friends on my Facebook, they know that I'm very upset with what's happening in South Sudan. I'm very upset with the way Sudan is being run. I do believe that Nuer people are marginalized, and that's going to go on forever until something is done. Imagine just a few days ago, they opened the oil field in Targias, you know, and the person who went and cut the line or the celebration thing was the Minister of Oil and the governor of state of Bargazal state came and opened a from Bargazal, from Warab state.
Come on, Iran Unity war.
Iran Unity was there just for an image, you know. And now they're building this road that would transport the oil from Nuer land to be refined in Warab state. This is very, very annoying. And what I can tell my people is that if you can, for the current situation now, if you can find an alternate travel plan apart from an aircraft, it's safer to do so. Because there's people who claim to be an investor in South Sudan. They are risking the life of our people because those aircraft are not safe. They are out of services, you know. One thing I will say about us is that we have been suffering for a long time. Dinka people always call me I'm a racist and my education means nothing. But my education is for my people. It's not for everyone.
Yeah.
You know, I went to education to help the Nuer people, not to help other people.
Very good.
If they want to meet somewhere, we have to meet halfway. Okay?
Yeah.
What I say is that we're just going to be very careful because Nuer people are finished. The Nuer population is decreasing and it's going to just continue until something is done. Until Nuer, they decide, oh, no, this is what we're going to do. Nuer but both did along. You know, both did along or matter and then we were honorable and all this. This is not the true definition of a Nuer person. Nuer person, you know, the true definition when they are a stable people. And those people who are in South Sudan, in Juvenile, they're not very stabilized. You know, can take a mental issues because if someone know by no blood, it's not good. You know, we have a lot of issues that our people need help. You know, and we can't blame them for the decision that they made. You know? But I do think they can change, and we have to make sure we stand up for the Nuer nation. Nuer nation is the only way out. Otherwise, the plan they have, always people say 39 law. It's not a 39 law, it's 39 plan. It's a plan, it's not a law. Because law me ye told by me finish. And plan and me ye la finish. That's a plan that they are planning to finish us forever. You know? But as a Nuer people, we need to stand up. We don't stand up but we can no resource new con. Let's benefit them. For the generation to come, let's not just be people to go to Juba or go ladder. And tomorrow by then you cannot have it. By my position can be why don't you have your own region?
your own country.
Yang big to well in your own country, your own region, no be anyin kun be kalel. Yang ko yige be ngai no queen. At least yakada as a family. And imagine doctor, there's a much Rumbek highway. There's a much Baharagazal highway. There's a much Ural highway. There's a much Bor highways. I never heard one thing that they said is a Nuer highway. Anything that connect our land. It's heartbreaking. I can be here in Australia. I can get as much money as I want. Like I said before, the defense said, you will not leave your job because of money. I could live here happily, but when my people are suffering, what does that do to me? It affects me mentally. Because I can't do something to help my people. I have this knowledge, but it's going to die with me. It hurts. It really hurts. So what I tell my people is, been together. And change, known ideal is one person that brings change, and that change gets supported. Riek Machar has been standing with us for many, many years, for many generations. You know, it's time that we need to help him now, and Nuer become independent. If that was the way that was done before, we are the Nuer people that died during those wars.
Yeah.
Actually, until today, we are dying. People are using us. And then later on, like we couldn't Sudan, like we chop. It's very tough and it's very, very annoying. That's the word that I would leave my people with in terms of the aviation until the law and the regulation of air industry is reformed and is reformed by people who know what they're doing in South Sudan at this moment. It's very difficult. It's very heartbreaking, you know, because if you know something that you can prevent it, but you can't prevent it, it's bad because someone is stopping us from growing. Someone is stopping us from rising up. We're always going to be under shoes. We're always going to be down. I tell you, if I go to Juba today, just because I'm a Nuer person, I will not make it. Simple. I can tell you now. You know? That was something that was forced last year about my education and all that on the internet. People were calling me that I was a rebel and all this and blah, blah, blah. They don't see the importance that education is for us all, is not for everyone. So if I don't realize that important information is for the Nuer people, then it's tough. And I'm angry, but I need to make sure that I'm okay, because the way Nuer people are dying it's not good. We need to do something, and the only way to get out of it is to rule ourselves.
Again, we just here lot of Nuer midi along. Binti wanna come I would Nuer nation midi. Here nation being angara. Kamundana guamo. Kada kon ga guard kon to lunga. Pick them a go ne, they are let. Mikam Gajara Nuer, the ma de Queen Yugajan director, aviation, Aeronautics. A little bit let them want to be let Coronore. But then on Chialing Chiamari, we bed then we should do neck on every day, 18. I can't chill a winning politician, and politician become a yoga gen and go na enemy. Muyan a larny and wally and worry open a way to camrar. A biagan machal yoga gen and be let go na. There you look. Politician but serve me. He have served the politician. If be a larger and got machal, be a larger and politician ideal. Con women go na ruminate waiter. Wrong ne, cutane ka guard you got to name what. Tammy ne camera waiter. Tell a lea, you name on the lea. Tammy here link engineer in it. Near shortable, nan a entity. How many could be, the example? How many examples? Gadun me ngwa. Chanin. No Ricky Maricona come round and wait and choy me a rod a cook up chong. And now come meet. A con kun your way done. So you Lloyd at the long ocean to Kelgane program. Me Jim Ganwara, me knock science and engineering. Being I day along, go gen and the more. Me Jin work here gun worm knock science can engineering within, but there will be a look at Chankel. We engineer in and bad director do, but you look, Kel be our own work be at be a connect. Win one me la take a bomb. Corre ya look. Lawyer the long ya liang program tame ke ko jen gude ya woni ngamal ye mare ajen.
Thank you. Ana jara doctor bi kun yana mal.
Ya nen the lawyer long.
Ko lo let ya. Thank you.
chate on ken ga jano ma ayo tieng mara ngai ka pom de we kan por ga go chate on